Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour. And today is Monday, August 11th, 2025. As always, we're grateful to everyone who's joining us here today, whether you're listening live or through the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've ever encountered. These tools are available absolutely free through the tireless efforts of Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce on the website at whyagain.org. If you go to that website, click on the two words that say Start Here in the upper left-hand corner. It will take you to a page where you can download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Ryce's book. His book is titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And that chapter of the book contains a narrative description and explanation of the primary tool in this work. That tool is called the Reality Management Worksheet, sometimes called the Reality Management Wake-Up Sheet. And it's a tool I've been using to great effect for over 20 years now to improve the quality of my life and most of my relationships, and to turn any negative emotional experience I have into part of the infallible guidance system that each and every one of us has been given. You can also download the actual worksheet process itself. It's a simple PDF file. Click the link, download it, print it off, copy it as often as you'd like, and use it over and over again absolutely free. You can also download a whole host of audio files of shows just like this one where people have been stepped through that worksheet process. If you choose to listen to them even repeatedly, they can serve as a powerful tutorial for you to help you get maximum benefit from these tools in the shortest amount of time possible. You can also go to your app store and type in the three words Heartland Aramaic Forgiveness. And if you choose to do that before you're done typing the word forgiveness, you'll see the glowing heart icon. If you tap on that, it will let you download a completely free and private app that contains the Reality Management Worksheet, contains an abbreviated version of that worksheet process, and it contains a copy of the Dragon Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce these tools to even younger audiences. We hope people do all of that soon and often, primarily because it tends to improve the quality of people's lives the more they actively apply these tools in their lives, and secondarily because it tends to prompt comments, questions, answers, and testimonials. If you have any of those to share with us, you can email me at tjh@mindshifters-academy.org. That's tjh@mindshifters-academy.org. And or you can email Jeanie at jeanie@whyagain.org. That's whyagain.org. And if we get a question or a comment from you, we'll address it on the internet show, and then as time allows, send you a notification about what day and time that occurred, so you can listen back to the archives for your feedback or input. Alternatively, you can join us live. If you go to Zoom, pick one of their many numbers. If you have unlimited long distance, dial the number and then enter the meeting ID number. Our meeting ID for the first hour of Mind Shifters is 853-2357-4173. That's 853-2357-4173. And we greatly appreciate whenever anybody joins us live. You can comment, you can type in the chat room, or you can just listen in. And again, we greatly appreciate the direction because we have the intention to be of service, and that is just way easier to do when we know how these things are landing for you. So we have plenty of time to talk today. We are still waiting to hear how Christian Sundberg's health unfolds, and we'll reschedule his meeting with us after he's on the mend. And so we have plenty of time for talking about pretty much anything we've talked about over the past 14 plus years.
I got a question for you.
All right.
What is your definition of truth?
When I do this kind of work, I usually do this. It's a capital T truth. And by that I mean what actually is, like the totality of what is. In other words, the capital T truth is that stuff that goes way beyond my ability to grab it with my conscious logical mind. So that's pretty much where I stop with the definition.
Is what you're saying then, if I'm hearing correctly, we really don't know what this limited, realistic perceptual construct of our mind.
Say that again, we don't know what?
We don't know what this device, this perceptual construct really
We
can't
we are
access.
very, very limited. Yes. Right. We have a tiny little slice. It's like, Michael Rice likes to talk about what if there was a housefly in this room buzzing around? Do you think it would see a picture of me that looks like the picture I see of me?
You know,
No, it wouldn't see a cell phone, it wouldn't see a desk lamp, it wouldn't see a picture on the wall. What would it see? Some set of frequencies or vibrations. The kids used to have when my children back in 30 years ago, they were young, there was a series of books called Animorphs. And I absolutely loved the Animorphs book and reading them to my kids because they were so well researched and written. The story was that these teenagers had been lucky enough or unlucky enough to stumble across a spaceship, and this alien gave them the capacity to morph into any animal that they could
mm,
see and and stay in that shape for a couple of hours.
shape shifting. I
But
love
then they
it.
had to, but then they had to get out of it because they could get trapped permanently, etc. But the reason I really enjoyed reading that to my kids was they really researched what are the senses picking up in these animals. What is their social structure? What is their drive? What is their cognition likely to be like? It's fascinating.
Mhm.
And it really brings it home if you pay attention to this stuff that we we really aren't perceiving the whole truth of life. We have this little bandwidth, like Einstein, not Einstein, but Mozart said, I may never play the music that is in my soul to write because of these tiny little octaves that we can hear in the range, but I know it's out there and far more expansive than my senses can portray for you.
Mhm.
So why do you ask
Just
about the
curious.
definition for truth?
And we talked about it yesterday. So we did the codependency workshop yesterday, and I talked a lot about actuality versus reality. So your wording around that is same as or if I heard you correctly, exactly what you're saying, the big T. And then, yeah, the definition, somebody asked what truth is, and Michael had his version of it. And what he had outlined is, and also aligns, we're in a world here of symbology, I believe, and it's not actuality, yet we're trying to explain actuality. And then we use another set of symbology, which is words, which is trying to explain that. So, but it really can't be explained because it's not the direct experience of it. So that's why I was just curious in your view of what your perception was. And so, yeah, just curiosity. It popped into my head, so I asked it.
Yeah, it's the like the big challenge is not to experience truth. The challenge is to be able to communicate truth. and you can't really communicate the truth. But that we keep trying to do it, right?
I
Because
know,
that's
yes. But isn't it to experience it? Isn't it having the direct experience? Like, do we even have to
the only the
communicate?
only the only way to have the experience is have the experience. The only way to know the truth is have the experience,
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
So some of the like a book like the Way of Mastery will say we're going to redefine knowledge as direct experience,
Hmm.
right? We're not going to define knowledge as data or information,
Hmm.
facts, right? That body of work says in various ways. It isn't quite as direct, but it says that your knowledge in that work would be lived experience, not your words about it, not your thoughts about it, but the direct experience.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? Because, and I'm grateful for you because you opened up my bandwidth of perception, which I really am grateful. So even,
How did I open up bandwidth of perception?
well, by asking a question, and then I could be willing to receive it around my seriousness, that or pointing out that my seriousness of, that I take my thoughts very seriously. So that's only one, so isn't it interesting that me always trying to see knowledge as intellect to understand the world, to understand. I need to understand. I need to understand. And I can see that theme throughout my entire world. Yet, what you've just said to me right now in the Way of Mastery, which I haven't read yet, which I will sometime, but knowledge really, so allowing me now to give me the link that knowledge is actually direct experience, not understanding. That's a whole different viewpoint in the world. So that's by our exchange. And then even you had, like, I had to ponder questions when you asked that exercise we did. It opened up stuff, and it was great because it, first of all, it landed me really deeper into my spirit, my purpose of what I'm here to bring truth, or my perception of, or truth through a lens of perception. I'm going to say it that way. And then, yeah, have also in my own life having the direct experience of something that can't be explained or understood because it's beyond understanding. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's oddly enough, everything is beyond our understanding, except what it's like to be in the physical.
Mm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Earlier on, we were reading this. We were reading this, meaning the book by Christian Sundberg. We were talking about, well, we were talking about all this stuff. How do you talk about the purpose? How real is what Christian is saying? How valid is it? Is it useful for me to consider that? And I would just keep trying to come back to the idea that just consider these things for yourself so you kind of usher yourself into an experience. Maybe you find out it works the same way for you. Maybe you find out it doesn't really work that way for you. But just be results oriented and as Brad Yates would say in the beginning of most of his tapping routines, taking full responsibility for your own health and safety in your own life will start tapping, right? But you have to be responsible for it. You have to want to learn, and then you have to keep exposing yourself to things that you don't fully understand yet with the understanding that I'm just learning.
Yeah. And I love you just said when you said just being open to the, and I'm changing the words a bit, but the curiosity of a question actually can lead you down a path of experience. And even like that exercise we did the other day, and I was my mind, my perception, but I couldn't even perceive it. What you were trying to do there, I was trying to analyze to figure it out, rather than just you're trying to or working to open a doorway to see maybe a different point of view. So it was helpful, and I did get there, but it wasn't in the moment. So yeah,
So I went back and listened to the group recording to find
okay.
out how did we get into that?
Oh, okay.
Do you remember how we got into that?
Mm,
Yeah, I'll bet you don't. Yeah, see,
okay.
because I didn't, and if I didn't, you.
I'm gonna go. I need. Yeah, I didn't go back. You're gonna be.
So,
I didn't go back and rewatch these. So see, that's how.
so
Yeah.
here it is. So here it
Okay.
is. This might help you.
Okay. Thank you.
This was like in the last third or quarter of the group session. So we'd been through a lot of different stuff. We talked, and you had been the primary conversationalist in the group up to
Yeah.
this point,
Hmm.
right? And my note here about what happened said that this quote slipped out of you in the middle of that conversation related to your doing the codependence to interdependence facilitation.
Okay.
It wasn't being questioned. I forget the exact context when it came up, but as you were talking about it, you said, I quote, I have to prove my worth and value, close
Yes.
quotes.
Yeah.
And was
Bingo.
that was my cue to say, well, it would be good for you to explore that because nothing you do in that presentation and facilitating it is going to touch your worth and value one way or another. So all of this, I have to do this to prove my worth and value, or I have to do this in a certain way to prove my worth and value. That's the lie that we want to see through.
Yeah.
That's why
And
we want to create exercises that will stir the pot. And when I created an exercise for that, your first response was, hell no.
I got. Oh, I'm so grateful for that experience. I really am grateful because it opened a whole bunch of stuff for me to look at, right? So, and
Yeah,
I
so you
talked
could,
about it. I talked about it
so,
yesterday. Yeah.
and hopefully you'll figure out at deeper and deeper levels that nothing that happens in any performance that you do is going to change your worth or your value.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, I go back to the mind shifter that you gave me before around money. It's the same. So, yeah, nothing has my value and worth is independent of my reality. I just would say it that way. So I'm starting to be able to perceive that, but that's a core wounding of the human, this piece. That's a core blockage, I would say, of the perception. Because I can't, well, I shouldn't say I wasn't able to perceive what other people perceive about me. And they would say it, and I could not, and people still do, but I couldn't perceive it. But it's
They
changing.
they 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 would say what?
A good thing, let's say things of what they see in me of value and worth through their lens of reality. They would communicate that, and I couldn't see it. I would always look through a lens of self-deprecation of what
Okay.
I'm not doing, what I could be doing better. And, for example, if I would have done, leading courses or whatever, every time I would be over, I'd be sitting there beating myself up about what should have been better, what I should have done more, etc. So not anymore. I don't do that. So yeah, and yet it's my worth and value has also nothing to do with what anybody else says either, because it's all a reflection of myself. So, but it doesn't. My value and worth is because I was born into this human being, and I am love. So that's now coming into understand that, not understand, to be that and have the direct experience of that. So that's what I'm just journeying that. I'm just so grateful for that conversation that we had. It really opened up a lot for me of healing, and also to question what is my motives for doing that, wanting to facilitate. And I got to find, and I talked about it last night on yesterday on the group on the call, the interdependency codependency process class there, because I said there's two of me right now showing up. There's a spirit that knows the purpose to bring truth into this world, and then there's the human part that still believes that she has wants and needs, exactly what you said, that she has to prove her value and worth. And even me communicating that to the group brought more peace because it was authentic. So, and then I also got to communicate about being more playful in my thoughts, and then I found a whole bunch of stuff with that when that came up, which was great. So, how I associated, I was hurt very young. I suffered trauma, and I associated pain and danger with innocence, curiosity, and play. So I had a correlation between that. So I have to be serious. And then there was lots of examples. So yeah, I just wanted to, yeah, I had those things came up, and thank you. And I appreciate you.
Well, you're very welcome and deserving. I'm with that connection. Have you been around Michael's work enough to know the word links
Yes.
ideas?
Yes, I have been. Yeah, he talks about the word links, and yeah,
Yeah.
the
So
energetic resonance
I
too.
would encourage you to work up some word links and work a little bit on that so that your associations with play are not to all of the pain and suffering that you just mentioned.
Yeah, that's the next, that is working on that as well for
You
sure.
know, one of those things that we used to talk about if people are going to do 5 worksheets a day for 40 days to try and uh, either on their own or as part of an accountability thing, then when I engage in that kind of work, when I know that I've got a core issue or two or three, I would want to make sure that one or two of my worksheets each day would target that core issue. And this would be one of those core issues that would really have a powerful impact on your experience of life if you're still walking around with word connections related to pain and suffering, um, play, joy, fun
Hmm.
is tied to pain and suffering.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely doing that. I haven't been doing the word links, but I will. And yeah, the unraveling of that, which is exciting because that tells me I'm at a new level of vitality to see this piece. And then we'll see what gets revealed. Yeah, thanks so much.
You're very welcome and deserving.
Dr. Tim,
Yes.
this is Susan B. here. I wondered if Susan F. has those word links in her mind. I'd love to hear a couple of them.
Okay. No. Let me see. I
Okay,
can tell
so
you.
simply what we want to do is connect, like if if you could have it in your head to recite it, what you said earlier, or go back and listen to the recording, that you have play paired with pain and suffering or punishment
Hmm.
or
Yes.
danger,
Yeah.
right? So you simply want to make a word link that says um, play is healthy, beneficial, joyful, natural, and I'm good at it. And so if there's an aspect in your life, Susan F., when you are becoming aware of this tension from the word length that's paired to the negative, then you could weave that into your word link. But just a simple, you know, play comes naturally to me. It ushers me into the best experience of life, and I do it every chance I can.
And even I can see, so if the word link now, because you said I'm good at and I'm good at it, that one triggered a response. I can feel it. It's tension that's right in my solar plexus. So I would then carry that forward into a reality worksheet. Is that right?
You easily could, yes.
Okay. Okay, that's what I'll do because I can feel it and I'm good at it right away. I can feel really big constriction.
Something wants you to believe you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
That
And I just
sounds,
like do a mind
sorry,
shift. That's
that
okay. You
sounds
have
like a
that
mind
also?
shifter.
Yeah, a mind shifter. Yeah. So it is now safe, easy, and healing for me to perceive that I'm good at play. Would that be one?
Well, yeah. The word perceive is throwing me off there, right? So
Okay.
why not just be?
Oh,
It's safe and
because
healing. It's
actuality,
safe and
though.
healing. I know, but it's safe and healing for me to live into the fact that play comes easily for me. Because it does, right? Unless there's a block. There's this natural ability that we were all little kids at one point in time.
Mm.
And we do have the urge, we do have the impulse, we do have the capacity for play.
So it is safe, easy, and healing. That life comes easy for me to play. How's that?
That's fine.
Okay, dude, I'll work on that one. Thanks, Susan B, for that. I appreciate that because it's interesting, what we're saying that my mind just I can see the blockages, not allowing those data points in of the
I
truth.
always understood the word links as just one word connected to another or a couple of words, not a mind shifter at all. And I haven't realized that it's a positive thing. I thought word links were just one or two words that were connected in my erroneous thinking that might show ill health or bad adjustment needing a worksheet. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I have some stuff on that in my from a long time ago working with Michael, and I thought it was very different than a mind shifter.
Susan B, it
Yes.
is just like 2 or 3 words that you link together
Okay.
for
Can
word
you
link.
can you give an example?
So like self-deserving of care. Um, or just self-deserving. With this, maybe play joyful or play safe. Um, Nothing's coming right to the top of my head, but thank you so much, Susan Fluick, for talking about this because I have one of those very serious minds too.
Yeah,
And this is a big deal because I've forgotten how to play.
I think many of us, maybe that's the case. And Susan B, I just want to say what Dr. Hayes was saying. So some are coming in even as we're speaking. So he said, for example, play equals healthy, play equals beneficial, play equals natural, play equals I am good at it,
Play
play,
equals safety.
yeah, play equals safety, play equals deserving. That's one I can see that brings joy when I'm just even saying that word out loud. So that really feels like, oh my, like wow, because somewhere in my brain got wired that as I saw trouble in my family around play, and also what happened to me when I was playful. And then I just wanted to correct it for me. I think, and so in this process, Dr. Hayes helped me find a mind shifter, which I will use. And the mind shifter was, it is safe, easy healing, that life comes easy for me to play. So out of our discussion around the word link, I was able to find a mind shifter which I'll take forward and work on. Just wanted to correct that if there was any that you thought those words I had said was actually linked to the word link.
Well, so the point is we have these connections and they get, neurons that fire together, wire together. So we have these energies in us. If a similar energy comes along, vibrating strong enough, it's going to stir the love, it's going to stir the irritation, it's going to stir the hurt up in me. Because it's the law of resonance, things get stirred up in me, whether they're the loving stuff or the frustrated stuff or the hurt or confused stuff. So if we can recognize that we have these associations or we have these well-rehearsed patterns, then we can use the fact that energies resonate and stir things up in us to our advantage. Right? Once we recognize how the system works, we can use it intentionally to be consciously, I'll say, manipulating the energies that go in so that we can rewire our brains to build stronger, more positive associations where once there was only a negative one. And whether you want to keep it down to 1 or 2 words or a phrase that describes the shift you want or the connection you want, just experiment with it. There aren't any hard and fast rules. They're saying this one works and this one doesn't. I forget who I was listening. Oh, Gabrielle Bernstein, the Judgment Detox book, and she has some mantra chanting meditations in there that she's basically, doing the same kind of thing. If I'm repeating a mantra, I'm setting up this vibration to bring stuff up within me that resonates with or that wants to argue against it. And then I can work with it. Right? If it comes up into the level of consciousness and I can keep it conscious, now I can actively work with it. Something was niggling there at my head. It was kind of a crossover. I think Dale Allen Hoffman has another new offering that I was hearing about. And I was thinking about his book, Echoes of an Ancient Dream, and the idea of the chanting and toning, which, while it can have multiple layers of different positive benefits, it also sets up these vibrational resonances that can either show us things or help us heal things. So, plenty of time for comments, questions, answers.
It's interesting, something just came up as you were speaking. In that session when you talked and Cami got a chance to share, and I'm just bringing it up because it's here. I can feel the resonance when you were speaking to me about wearing the sandwich board and having an energy where there might be an energy going out and people to take advantage. And then I right away brought up around pedophiles. I said that, and that came through my consciousness. And then Cami came on and of course and talked about her story and going to divorce. There's an energy and I don't know what that's about. Maybe you can help with that. I can feel it still. So I'd love to find I can see the theme now, but I don't know what that's about. That there's
And
an opportunity there.
and energy around what?
I can feel, all I know is that came up just now. It correlated to that conversation, and I feel attention. And
Okay. And
yeah.
is it the tension around the discussion of grooming somebody for something?
And even when you were mentioning about that, when we were talking about that, you were talking about that, I can tell you, I question, am I being taken advantage of? Is this a clue? Is like even about Michael, but all like a whole bunch of stuff. I can feel that. It was a whole bunch of questions. And I think I'm blocking whatever that is. So yeah, I would like some insight on that. I can, even as we're speaking, I can feel deep constriction in my right here. It's really tense.
Okay, what help me so I don't go way off on a tangent. Help me understand what energies are resonating with that deep constriction in you.
Well, I just know it's tied to that conversation back then, as we were
Okay,
speaking.
so but the conversation, just don't lose track of what's
Yeah.
going on with you. Don't
Okay.
get stuck in the
Yeah.
intellectual. But
Okay.
the conversation, here's a quick overview of the conversation.
Yeah.
The sandwich board, what I want you to see, I put on the outside of it. What I don't want you
Hmm.
to see, I hide behind it.
Yeah.
And we all exchange volumes of information with each other before we ever open our mouths.
Hmm.
And some people are better at identifying those volumes of information and using them for, not so healthy purposes, right? The nefarious purposes. Those people we know who are deeply wounded, in their woundedness, they read the radar screen about the energies bouncing off of them and other people. They read it better. And that's where, they might see a weakness in somebody, or they might identify, oh, here's somebody who really wants to fawn in front of somebody to win their approval, who's not very secure in themselves. So
Yeah.
here's a person who is kind of wounded, who wants to go take advantage of that because they kind of intuit that energy. It was in that context that you or somebody else said, sexual predators do this, they groom people. So where's the tension coming up inside you?
Right here in my solar plexus.
And what thoughts, words, or other sensations might go along with that?
That I'm not safe, that I can't predict danger. I don't know I'm being groomed.
Okay, and so your goal is to be safe, right?
Hmm.
And your thought is, I can't keep myself safe. Um, I can't identify somebody who might want to groom me or manipulate me or abuse me.
I can't identify danger.
Okay, I can't identify danger. And your goal is, I want to be safe. And what emotion would you put on this? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it.
That's all right. I
Yeah.
just want to make sure you didn't
Yeah.
freeze.
Yeah. Um, I can feel emotions. I feel sadness.
Okay. So with this, we'll do the short version of
Mhm.
the reality management worksheet since we're time limited.
Yeah.
You're feeling sadness. Your thought is, I can't identify danger. And you're feeling it in your solar plexus, did you say?
Yes.
All right. And the goal is, I want to be safe,
Hmm.
right? I want to feel the truth of my safety.
Yeah.
All right. So then you can just close your eyes if you wish and silently inside your own mind repeat what I'm going to say out loud.
Okay.
I cancel my need to be right. I cancel my need for anyone or anything to change, including myself. I put my conscious logical mind on the shelf for now. I ask to be shown the hidden part of my own mind that's actually creating this sadness. And then I just soften and breathe and put myself in the most open, allowing space I can. And I just trust that anything that comes into my awareness, sight, sound, physical sensation, emotion, any of it is going to be part of what I need to see to begin to heal here and move forward. Just breathe and soften and stay with that until you feel something shift or fade, or you get a glimpse of sometime from an earlier point in your life, and then you go there and see what it has to offer you. Just notice how old you are, where you are, who else is there, and what's happening. Until you feel something shift or fade, or you realize that your mind is just going to spin and go nowhere for now. One of those things happens, take a nice, deep, cleansing breath and let it all go. And scan your body and notice what's the strongest emotion or the strongest physical sensation you're aware of.
Yeah, I still feel the tension in my solar plexus and my liver, but not as intense.
And what, if anything, were you aware of in the release?
I saw potentially the origin of the trauma. My mom screaming and
So do that thing we've done before where you give yourself time to make notes about the details, because as we were reading about from the book with Brent Baum, one of the ways that we really help people make significant progress with their trauma energies that are still in them is to look for that, how the memory keeps going. There's all these aspects of the trauma memory that I remember, and then it just keeps going in a loop, and then it comes back again. Something is going on just after my memory stops, or right before it goes into the loop. And so the very worst part of it is being blocked from my awareness. And I just want to keep gently supporting myself in looking in that direction and noticing the little details, in making written or notations about it so they don't slip out of my memory. And I'm essentially, with repetition of these actions of picking up a worksheet and breathing and tapping and doing worksheet processes or EFT tapping, I'm doing behaviors that speak far more loudly to that fearful part of my mind, to convince that fearful part of my mind that I really want to see what's in it. I really do have different resources. I really am safely interested in this revelation that the fearful part of my mind can share with me.
Yeah. Okay.
So do that for yourself, because it's simply, I don't know any better way. I don't know any other reliable way to grab onto those things that want to keep flipping back into the unconscious.
I could feel that, the do loop. Thank you for giving me language around the do loop, because didn't go anywhere. It was just, I'll just keep plugging away at that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And when you do that, if you're going to do that kind of release again, just remember, anything that your mind is sharing with you, you want to open it up to get re-examined, questioned anew. Only now, instead of only the mindset of your younger self, whatever your mindset and age was when the situation happened, instead of just having that worldview mindset, now you've got your whole adult mindset that you can bring to bear in life experiences that you can re-examine and question anew all of these old negative conclusions about yourself or your values or your lack of safety in this particular case.
Yeah. And I don't know who said it the other day, but I realized, I survived the direct experience of it. I'm here.
It's all old stuff. It can't hurt you any more than you already have. You've already lived through
I've
it.
lived it.
You lived
That's,
through it. You recognized it. You labeled it. You judged it. You said it's too much for you. And you've hidden it away from yourself
yeah,
in a little compartment in your mind. How much more can you handle it than that?
I know. Yeah, that's important. That I realized is important. That it's already there. It's already done.
And any part of you that is still afraid of it is a very young, wounded part.
Mhm.
And it needs comfort and reassurance. It doesn't need to be yelled at and told how stupid it is for being afraid of this silliness.
Yeah, yeah. All right. That's very helpful. This is going to give me an opportunity to go deeper and know myself more deeply. Thank you.
You're very welcome and deserving. It is just one of the things about the way our minds work. I suppose it probably has some very solid survival tendencies wrapped in there, but we will actively hide from ourselves stuff that we just remembered, and at the conscious logical level, we want to remember it again. The example that's coming to mind is another time when I was doing one of those 5 worksheets a day for 40-day um, challenges or promotions, and it was hard for me to come up with 5 different things to do a worksheet on. And so I was hoping that things would come to my awareness that would be significant, but there were a couple times in the day where I'd say, well, I wish it was 10 degrees warmer, and I'll put that on a worksheet and do the worksheet because I was drawing a blank about what would be useful to do a worksheet on. And this one morning I was on my way to work. It's only about a 15 or 20-minute drive at that point in time from where I lived to where I worked. And I got about 5 minutes from the office, and I had this thought about it it it's a situation that happened in my professional life where I made a mistake on a testing report, and it got caught before it ever left the office, so no harm was done or whatever. But I took a download of shame from that memory, and that memory flashed into my awareness, and I thought, oh, great, I can do a worksheet on this when I get to the office. And so I drove safely to the office and was just bound and determined to take advantage of this situation, pulled out a sheet of paper, could not remember what the situation was. My mind was actively hiding it from me because here I was at my desk ready to do a worksheet, and I couldn't bring up the memory, which had intense emotional loading on it and was in my head 7 minutes earlier. So our minds, for whatever reason, whatever the evolutionary pattern is, our minds actively hide things from us. And if we can become aware of that, we can be active in our vigilance to watch, okay, let's see what my mind might be hiding from me now. That's why we suggest to people that they actively write these things down with paper and pencil or talk it into your voice recorder, whatever you prefer, because it will actively be hidden from you by your mind's own workings. This is one of the things that Michael Ryce talks about a lot with people that have sometimes really serious mental health challenges, is that they've just got conflicting goals running. And those conflicting goals cause havoc inside of us. It has me working against myself. It's like the special case of the my greatest strengths will at times be my greatest weaknesses, my greatest assets at times my greatest liabilities. It's not, I'm not always going to be able to go to my greatest strength and my best tool and find a solution for things. I'm going to need to switch it up. There are going to be times where the things I'm best at, the more I do them, the more stuck I get. So there you have it. We have a little bit of time left for comments or questions. I had an interview on Friday, which will be posted hopefully a week or two from tomorrow, I guess. It depends on how fast they can get it up there, get it done. But this is with Jeanie, who works, she has 7 children who are either ADHD or on the autism spectrum. And as a really bright entrepreneurial person, she decided, I'm going to figure out solutions for these problems my kids are having. And so she's interviewed and read about some of the top people who study attention deficit disorder and neurodivergence. And she shares with people what she's learned that's helped her and helped her kids and now helps others. So we mentioned that, and we put the call out for anybody you know that you think we should interview. Cami, are you intentionally trying to say hello?
Yes, please. Can you talk a little more about conflicting goals? Uh, I'm in like huge upset, and that is that hits the nail on the head, and I don't know if I caught everything you said or if you could speak a little more about that.
Well, the core of this work is the Reality Management Worksheet process, which has me figure out that whenever I'm upset, there must be goals running that are not getting met that I'm focusing on. And so my way out of my upset in that moment is to cancel the goals. Well, I may have half a dozen goals active in my mind at any point in time. I may have many more than that, but let's just say I've got half a dozen goals active, and one of them is that my goal is to avoid spending money and put every last bit of money I have into savings for some project or whatever. And then 4 of my other goals involve, I want to go see the new Superman movie, or I want to go see, Disney World. I want to take a trip down there. So these are conflicting goals, right? One part of me desperately wants to save money to reach this other um, total so I can afford to buy something. Another part of me says, oh yeah, but I need a steak dinner, or I need to go traveling, or so those conflicting goals will create a tension within me and frequently lead me to the kind of, tearful overwhelm that you seem to be in right now.
Yes, big
So,
time.
so rapid fire canceling of goals and breathing and EFT tapping would be a real good idea, right? Just so you clear the deck so you're not operating from that high level of agitation. Do you ever do the EFT tapping?
Yeah, I do it a lot.
Well, if you can do some of that in combination with canceling whatever the primary goal is here. And your goal might be for safety, your goal might be for security, your goal might be for survival. It seems like it's a pretty core goal that's up for you.
Yeah, I have two really big ones that are conflicting that are up, and I keep canceling them. And they just keep coming up and coming up.
Okay, so notice what you're doing with your breath. And it's okay to be crying as long as you can still be breathing. As Michael Rice says, tongue in cheek, if you can only do one, always choose breathing over crying. If you can do both, go right ahead. And soften. And we're down here to the last just a few minutes, but I'm certain that if you wanted to and stick around, as long as Michael and Jeanie are on today, that you could work with them in the second hour.
Yeah. Okay. I thought maybe I missed something like super
No, it's real simple.
important.
No, it's real. Yeah.
It's the same thing that I'm doing, and it's not working.
Okay, so just breathe and soften and recognize that whatever, even if it is survival, is one of the goals that you have, just cancel the goal to survive.
Right.
Cancel the goal to be happy, cancel the goal for whatever, relief, and breathe
Yeah.
and soften and see, because this is clearly going to be one of your 77 times 70 worksheet issues. It's clearly going to be something that goes back into your developmental years.
Yeah. Been working on it for years. 70 times 77 times 77.
Well, the people here will be sending you blessings and loving thoughts, and I hope that you get some support if you choose to stick around and do it with Michael and Jeanie. But we'll be back tomorrow, and there'll be a support group tomorrow. There will not be a support group on Thursday. I'm having Thursday and Friday off this week. So I'll remind us all that we come from love. We're made of the stuff we call love. We actually are love, and everything else is false. Blessings.